Hello, friends. Now we'll start moving further in the poem The Horses, written by Ted Hughes. Ted Hughes, in fact, turned to writing poetry at the behest of his wife, Sylvia Plath. And even prior to this, he had a great love for nature, most particularly the violent forms of nature. He had a strong conviction that nature is most beautiful when it is violent. It never makes its presence felt when it is calm. So, the poem Horses, written by him, is one such example in which he delights in speaking about the horses. And in the previous lecture that I delivered on the beginning lines of this poem, we had studied that it was the moment of hour before dawn dark. The day has not broken yet, and in the frost making stillness, and in the woods where his own breath was throwing out statues, torturous statues in the iron light, he was seeing the, the valleys being drained by darkness. And this darkness stretched from where the poet was to the moorline. And on the on this blackening dregs of the brightening grey, he saw the horses. So the the symbols of force, the symbols of manliness, the symbols of strength, agility, and majesticity, the horses are a great challenge to the darkness that was all around. The darkness was the playground for the poet who was moving there. And why should he be moving there? Only maybe because he was in love with the violent nature. So, in this cold night, in this dark night, when everything is so challenging, he writes in the end of the eighth line, and I saw the horses. So, juxtaposed against this darkness are a darker still form which was formed by 10 horses together, standing megalith still, standing as if carved out of a rock, a single rock. And the only symbol and the only indication that said that they were alive were that they were breathing. Definitely, even their breaths should be throwing out statues in that dark, still night. And the horses made no move, only with their tilted hind hooves. It is a very matter of fact imagery that when horses have to rest, they will only lift one of the hind limbs, tilt it, and take their sleep. So, the admiring poet who is possessed by the beauty of these, the dark creatures in the dark night on a dark moorline, he has nothing but the sense of admiration. And because they did not move, even the poet made no gesture to trouble them. And even if he did, he would have been the bearer of the catastrophe and not the doer. So he just moved forward, and in a deep sense of admiration, he said that they did not snort or jerk, and they were grey still fragments of a grey silent world. So, this, the grey of the environment and the grey of the horses, is as if suggestive of the harmony that stands in a night which is just about to break itself open for a beautiful morn. So, now we continue. I listened in emptiness on the moor ridge. He is just waiting for a sound to come. No sound comes from the horses. He just listened in emptiness on the moor ridge. The curlew's stare turned its edge on the silence. The birds which mark the coming of the sunrise, curlews, only they went flying past as if proclaiming the advent. Slowly, detail leafed from the darkness. And in this darkness, somehow the images of the leaves were visible. This could also be the wings of the curlew and a larger petal among the smaller petals may be in that dense forest. Then the sun, orange, red, erupted. So, in this still silence, in this darkness, all of a sudden, the sun, which was in the beginning orange, then red, it erupted. The word suggests that the coming of the sun in this still night, it is like the eruption of a lava from the still volcano. People generally are trapped by the sudden expulsion of the lava from the core, from the mouth of the volcano. So everything is so still. In this gray comes the orange and then the red. This shows Ted Hughes' keen eye for nature, his keen eye for details, and how he fuses the colors one on top of the other. It was dark, must be black, then it turned grey, and then it turned orange, and then it turned red. So, the movement from the colorless stage to the brightest of all colors, the red color, is such a magnanimous presentation of the beauty, and it erupted. The sun erupted silently. Even the sun did not want to break the reverie that existed there. The silence of the horses and the silence of the poet, who was so awe-stricken. And splitting to its core, tore and flung cloud. So the sun split to its core. The sun was splitting. From orange, it was turning red. It tore and flung cloud. The cloud that was, the grey cloud that was hanging, that was broken and dispelled, shook the gulf open, showed blue. And see, from that violent red, the sun has taken the world to a blue. The gulf is the gulf of the sky, and the big planets hanging. So the it appeared that the sky was until now having several planets, and unseen they hung over there. But now that the sun has risen high, the images of these appear hanging. So we must go on to believe that he is forced to think that there are planets hanging in the sky because the only to meet in wonder the planets, the nine megalithian creatures standing on the moor line. I turned, stumbling in the fear of a dream, down towards the dark woods from the kindling tops and came to the horses. So the poet says that I turned. Now he has had a look at the sky where the sun has dispelled the clouds. And then the poet casts down his gaze from the sky. He comes in the fever of a dream, as if he is in a dream, down towards the dark woods. He starts looking down towards the dark woods. The woods have not yet taken the rays from the sun, they are still dark. And from the kindling tops, the tops of the moor and the tops of the trees, and after that, his gaze came down and rested again to the horses. There, still they stood. There is a beautiful pun upon the word still. Until now, the, the, the sky was trying to make its presence felt. The sun had really thumped its presence on the earth. But the horses still, even now, they stood still, unmoving, they stood. But um, so I think I should stop here. This is the rapture bound poet making an appreciation of these giant figures facing the giant world. And the one that is small, that is the poet, is left to make his own analysis and appreciation of this transforming world. Only the transformation is caused with the advent of the sun, and the transformation is in the colors, but everything is still, as if partaking in the stillness of the horses. This is all for today. I leave the last line, which we shall continue with the succeeding lines in the next lecture. Thank you.